Have you ever thought about the relationship between music and culture? Music is always informed by and informing the culture in which it is embedded. In the Bible's account of the origins of music, we aren't given much detail, but we can see this relationship between music and culture from the start. Genesis 4:21 gives us the first explicit mention of music in the Bible, and there we read of the father of string and woodwind instruments, and, in a sense, the inventor of music itself, Jubal. We don't hear a great deal about him, but what we do learn is of the close relationship between the pastoral and the musical arts. Jubal's older brother Jabal was the father of those who dwell in tents and have livestock. The culture of Cain's descendants was formed around the tending of the land, the keeping of cattle, and the making of music. How the people would live in tents and how they would eat by keeping cattle is accompanied by music making as an integral cornerstone of their culture. But this is Genesis 4. It follows on from the fall in Genesis 3. And the passage is littered with examples of the brokenness of this new fallen world. At the start of the chapter, Cain kills his brother Abel. We then read of Lamech, a descendant of Cain. Lamech invents polygamy. Verse 19 records that he took 2 wives, Adah and Zillah. Lamech takes what he wants. He's powerful, he's tyrannical, and he's vengeful, so much so that he gathers his wives as his audience to boast about killing another man who tried to wound him. In verses 23 and 24, Lamech speaks poetically, perhaps even sings, "Adah and Zillah, hear my voice. You wives of Lamech, listen to what I say. I have killed a man for wounding me, a young man for striking me." If Cain's revenge is 7-fold, then Lamech's is 77-fold. Lamech boasts in killing a man who wounded him. He boasts in his vengeance. In fact, he is so arrogant that he even compares himself to God. God in his mercy protected Cain with a mark, so that everyone knew that if someone killed Cain, he would be avenged by God. In fact, the warning was that God would avenge Cain 7-fold. Yet Lamech says that he will avenge himself 77-fold, 11 times more severe. What utter hubris. And it's this man, the vengeful, proud polygamist, who is the father of Jabal, Jubal, Tubal-Cain, and Nama. As culture is being formed, as music is being invented, it is in this context of a fallen, sinful world. How does that impact us as Christian musicians today? Well, one, we should steward the musical gifts that God gives us with joy and diligence, recognizing the potential influence our music making can have on culture. Music is powerful. What a blessing to know that we can use our musical gifts to glorify God. But we must beware of the dangers of sin. 2, we should never be surprised by the presence of sin in music. Music has a beautiful role to play in culture, but sin corrupts everything that mankind touches. And we see the corruption of sin surrounding Jubal as he made the first musical instruments. 3, we should contemplate what's worth singing about. Lamech boasted in his arrogance and vengefulness. We ought to make music to the praise of the Lord. It's possible that in Matthew 18:22, when Jesus exhorts his disciples to forgive 77 times, that he is alluding to Lamech. In the place of vengeance, Jesus calls his followers to forgive. He empowers us to forgive, because through him, we can be forgiven. And that is something worth singing about.